Welcome to episode number,
303
303 of the Beyond Social Media Show, the podcast for all of you marketing, advertising, public relations, and communications professionals. You can find us by searching for Beyond Social Media Show. We are recording live on YouTube on April 11, 2020. A lot of things to talk about this week, including dispensing hope, essential needs, God save the city, advertising adapts, Apple shields, stay the F home, hashtag distance dance, remote SNL, DIY Shake Shack, Google COVID highlights, re-art, reading hope, John Prine, no emoji, Facebook couples, pause campaigns, and some stats for how B2B marketing budgets are changing in the wake of COVID-19 crisis. We started off with the best stories of the week, and BL always has that honor. BL, what do you got?
I got a whole lot of good stories this week because that's what I looked for in order to stay sane. So one of the most fabulous things I've seen, not just this week, but ever, was a video made by Carol Alaouf, I think I'm sorry if I botched your name, Carol, who made an incredible video from one of Mark Schaefer's podcast episodes. And it's about 3 minutes long, and besides being a gorgeous message of hope and love, it's a remarkable way to promote a podcast. It's phenomenal. Wait till you see it. But the message is that during the pandemic, you shouldn't be trying to sell anybody anything. You should just be saying, how can I help you right now? But the way it's presented, it's just, I've never seen anything like it, and it's just extraordinary.
Wow, I have not seen that. I'll take a look. It
sounds like love it.
It sounds like it might be based on the Mark Schaefer post that I'm going to talk about.
Probably.
He wrote a great post that's something that people want to take into consideration. You're familiar with with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? The psychologist. What's his first name?
I can't remember.
Okay. Anyway, Maslow, the psychologist, had created this concept called the hierarchy of needs, where all human beings have basic physiological needs at the very bottom. So you need air, water, food, sleep, shelter, clothing, reproduction, and then the next rung up on the ladder, basically, or the next level of the pyramid, is your safety needs. So you need personal security and employment, resources, health, property. Then you need love and belonging. You need esteem on top of that, and then at the top of the pyramid is self-actualization, desire to become the most of what you can be. Right. This post that Mark Schaefer talks about is in this current context. We need to be thinking your business as business people, as marketers, we need to be thinking about the business in the context of what's going on right now and thinking about it in terms of this model of the hierarchy of needs, of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Consumer psychology is now focused on, rather than the top of the pyramid, self-actualization, where a lot of marketing messages have been. People are now honed in on the bottom two aspects of the pyramid. Their physiological needs, they need shelter, they need sleep, they need clothing, and their safety needs, they need health, they need security. And so how is your messaging aligning with the current consumer psychology is the point of this blog post. So we'll put a link to it in the show notes, but I think it's a very valuable read in thinking of what you need to stay top of mind, what kind of messages you're putting out there, and are they aligned with the current consumer psychology.
I believe those are two separate things from Mark, but both extraordinary. But wait till you see how this is rendered. It's just so fabulous. The other thing I saw that is just so gorgeous, and I really want to see it go viral, is called God Save the City. And it's a message of gratitude to those on the front lines. And it's from the musical Dementos. And what Robert Rubinsky, who wrote the lyrics, said, Mark Shaman, it's so interesting, Mark Shaman and I wrote God Save the City many years ago as the finale of our show Dementos. It was an ode to homelessness, the marginalized, and later offered a light during the AIDS crisis. Mark has recreated this beautiful music with Jennifer Lewis's inspiring vocal. Our friend Eric Marciano has created this moving video as a message of hope in this dark time. I can't even talk about it without crying. A salute to all the tireless workers around the world doing their best to help us through. It's beautiful.
That's fantastic.
It's going to make you cry.
Yeah. We've been talking about how people are adjusting. In recent past episodes, we've talked about how the media is adjusting to the way they're covering things, but also advertising is adjusting. And I've got a couple of examples of that. I saw it this week. I saw a commercial for some cars, right? When you buy a new car or buy a used car, you go to a car dealership and you walk through their lots and you go into their sale, talk to salespeople. There's people all around. Well, nobody wants to do that anymore right now. So Carvana, the car company we discussed in episode 245, the vending machines, they have literally vending machines that you go and pick up your car. So they are running a commercial that starts out for some car, getting a car just can't wait. The new way to buy and sell a car is also the safest way. So they are perfectly positioned because they literally have touchless sales with their car vending machines. So that was interesting to see that. Jeep, this is from an Adweek article by Lisa Lacey. Jeep is running a recut basically of their Super Bowl commercial where they reenacted Groundhog's Day with Bill Murray. But in this version, Bill Murray returns with a cut from that commercial, but it starts out with a blank page or a blank screen, and it says, "We understand that every day is starting to seem the same," and then it cuts to a clip of Bill Murray waking up in bed with the radio going, announcing it's Groundhog's Day, and then it cuts, "Stay home, stay healthy. When this is all over, the trails will be waiting," and a Wrangler climbs the mountaintop, and then it closes with Jeep #stay off the road. So that's a good adjustment as well. And repurposing of content because you can't shoot commercials now. Julia Louis-Dreyfus, I love this one.
I love her. Yeah, this is great.
She's an Ad Age article by Simon Domenico. She did a PSA that California Governor Gavin Newsom tweeted, which shows her in front of a mirror, and her makeup is all messed up, and she goes, usually when I do these things, I have my makeup team, and she's putting on her lipstick, and she looks like the Joker from Batman. Because now we have to stay home and save lives.
And she looks at herself and she says, "Oh, perfect."
And
yeah, that's a great one.
We'll embed it in the show notes so people can watch it. This is a fascinating one, too. This is from Ars Technica. Kyle Orland writes that the British government, the UK Department of Digital, Culture and Media and Sport, they have a department for that, is using in-game advertising to get the stay home, save lives message in front of younger people through in-game banner ads. So there's a Dirt Rally 2.0 is the racing game. Sniper Elite and Strange Brigade are displaying the message at the beginning of each game. So as you're not a gamer, BL, so you wouldn't know this, but video gamers, when you start a game, there's a loading time that the game has to load on your console, and during that time there's a screen, and you just sit there and wait for the game to load. So it's a perfect time to display a PSA. So they're using that, and then of course there's Candy Crush. A lot of people play that, and that has interstitial advertising in it. So they're using that to get the message home to people who may not be consuming news or consuming the media messages, the traditional ones that you normally see. So those are some examples of how advertising and PSAs are adapting to the new environment.
I've seen a number, and talking about adapting to the new environment, Apple is making medical face shields and shipping the first 1 million this week. It's from a Bloomberg article by Mark Gurman. They're designing face shields for medical workers, and separately, they've sourced over 20 million masks through their global supply chain, according to Tim Cook. He made the announcement last Sunday on Twitter, saying that its design, engineering, packaging, and operations teams are all working with suppliers to get the shields made and shipped. The first shipment was delivered to a Santa Clara, California hospital last week. They're fully adjustable. They assemble in under 2 minutes, and adding that, Apple plans to ship over 1 million this week and another 1 million the week after that. All stores remain closed everywhere but China. And talking about the new normal, if you had your computer at the Genius Bar being fixed, you're shit out of luck because the stores are closed.
Yeah.
And I had an issue the other day, and I called Apple, and I called them at about 1 p.m, and they called me back at 11:30 at night when I was sleeping. But they called me back.
There's a time difference. I suspect their call center is not in New York City. There's
Well, there also is a number on Google, beware, that says call Apple support, and it's some guy in India. And and he says hello. To say thank you for calling Apple, that they usually say hello. It's like hang up and go away. So go ahead, Dave.
So you may not recognize the name Adam Mansbach, I suspect. Probably not many people would recognize that name, but you do know Adam Mansbach because not long ago there was Samuel L. Jackson reading one of his books called Go the F to Sleep. Do you remember that viral video?
I sure do.
Yeah, so it's hilarious. So Samuel L. Jackson reading Adam Mansbach's book, Go the F to Sleep. He also wrote, Adam Mansbach also wrote another book called You Have to Effing Eat. So these are children's books, but actually they're adult children books. So Mansbach has wrote a new book. It's called Stay the F at Home. And of course, Samuel L. Jackson reads it. One of the stanzas in the book goes like this: if you want things to get back to normal, don't panic, just use your dome. Wash your hands, stop touching your face, and stay the F home. So put that video of Sam Jackson's reading of Stay the F Home in the show notes so people can see it.
When he reads it, it's just so freaking cool.
Yes, it is. They actually did it on a Jimmy Kimmel episode.
I saw that.
They're doing fundraising alongside it for Feed the Homeless, I think.
So here's another one that could only happen during this time. It's hashtag distance dance. And this is from a campaign article by Lindsay Stein. And distance dance has now been seen by more than 8 billion people, thousands of whom have contributed videos from their home. And they include it includes the social media star power of Charlie D'Amelio. She is the most followed person on TikTok, and it started with a call from Ohio's Governor Mike DeWine to P&G CEO David Taylor, and somehow got to her. And she's 15 years old. She's appealing to her more than 40 million TikTok followers to show off their favorite dance steps to raise awareness about staying home and social distancing during the pandemic. So if you tag her and use the hashtag distance dance, Procter & Gamble will donate to organizations Feeding America and Matthew 25 Ministries. Inside Edition's Lee Shep says more about it. But since the launch a week ago, it's been viewed more than 8 billion times, with more than 1.7 million imitation videos shared by celebrities, major sports leagues, influencers, college mascots. Most importantly, the effort has triggered many donations, and P&G is promising to donate for the first 3 million videos. And the next phase will kick off later this week on other social platforms to keep getting the message out. So we'll have links to all of this, plus a couple of the adorable videos that people have put in. So it's distance dancing. And what I've been doing terms of dancing, since I can't leave my house, is I've been taking online Zoom classes, and Lucy and I do that every morning. It's great fun. My puppy loves to dance.
Very cool.
I haven't videoed it.
This is not distance dancing, but it is definitely distance laughing and perhaps distance skidding, but we're going to have to find out. So we will find out tonight, because as Deadline's Nellie Andreeva reports, SNL, Saturday Night Live, is returning. And I'm fascinated by how they're going to pull it off, because they're putting it together, obviously, remotely, with how do you do a skit without being together? Obviously, Weekend Update, that's pretty easy to do. Everybody else is, all the news organizations are doing basically the same format, so that's pretty easy to do. But I do no word on how they're going to do it or what it's going to look like, and I'm fascinated to find out. Justin Timberlake will host, though. We do know that.
That is so cool. Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, I usually wait until Weekend Update and then go to sleep, but so something else you can do virtually is you can get a Shake Shack do-it-yourself burger kit with a free cooking tutorial. So now you can create at home the Shack burger. Now, I don't eat meat, so this is not appealing to me, but this is from Marketing Examples. And what you get are ready-to-cook boxes with ingredients that include the blend of secret Shack sauce. And I don't know if you have this in other parts of the country, but in New York at Shake Shacks, you will often see people waiting in lines a block long just to eat these hamburgers. And what I like that they have is their custard, which is pretty wonderful. But so now you can order, and it's hamburgers for $8. So I think that was pretty clever marketing on their part.
That is. I think we've got a Shake Shack. I haven't been to one, but I think we've got one, at least one here. No lines, though. Whenever I've passed it, I've seen lines. So, yeah, that's very clever. Top of mind, right? Keep people's top of mind until this blows over and you can come back.
You know, a lot of people are doing exactly that this week. Lucy and I, last week we had a dog yoga class, courtesy of Bond Vet. And then the other day we had a free half-hour online training course, courtesy of the School for Dogs. And they are also doing online training, pay as you can, because everybody's in trouble right now, and it's just to stay top of mind. And you know what, the trainer was great. We learned a whole new thing. We learned that I've ruined the word come, because when I say come, Lucy may or may not show up. So she said, you need a new word and you need to start over. So our new word is cheese. And when I want Lucy to come, I say, Lucy, cheese, and she comes running over.
You need a different word than cheese. You need something less common. You need something like sesquipedalian.
Takes too long. but maybe you'll tell me what that means. So
sesquipedalian is somebody who uses large words. So this is an example of a brand being helpful. That's what you should be doing if you're communicating these days, and Google is doing just that. So Google is highlighting, according to 9 to 5 Google's Ben Schoon, highlighting nearby stores that offer takeout or delivery. So on their Google Maps, it'll highlight whether or not those stores near you offer that service, restaurants. It is also appearing in Google Search, so not just in Maps. But then TechCrunch's Frederic Lardnois. Let me try it again. Lardnois. There we go. I think I got it. Is reports that Google is also rolling out over the next 2 weeks. Will be rolling out search and map features that highlight telehealth options. So hospitals, doctors, mental health professionals will be able to add details to their about their virtual care offerings to their Google My Business profile, which will show up in search and maps. And then when a patient searches, they'll be able to they'll see a link to get online care, which will send them to the provider's website with more information. So that's an interesting development there.
Google's doing a lot of good things right now. And, there's Casey Newton and a lot of other people are talking about, is the tech backlash going to end as a result of this? Because without these big companies, there'd be a whole lot missing from the current situation. So talking about staying top of mind, the Getty Museum, I love this. They tweeted, we challenge you to recreate a work of art with objects and people in your home. And this is from a CNN story by Ala Elisar. And the rules are really simple. You pick your favorite art, and then you find 3 things lying around your house, and you use them to recreate the artwork. My favorite one, and I don't have the title in front of me, but the household object that she's using is toilet paper. Which I saw also a Rube Goldberg device made with many rolls of toilet. I'm thinking, like, how could you do that? The other morning, Lucy brought me a half-eaten roll of toilet paper that she had chewed up. I'm like, no, eat the jewelry. Go chew the couch. Don't take the toilet paper.
Well, I'm all out of good stuff.
Oh, I'm not. This is a really wonderful one. A while back, I interviewed Trina Paulus, who is now 88 years old. She's the author of Hope for the Flowers, which may possibly have been read to you when you were a child. And starting Monday, April 13th, through the next 7 days, in an effort to give us all hope during the pandemic, she's going to read a chapter every night from the book live. And Hope for the Flowers, if you don't know it, is an allegory of transformation. It's about how a caterpillar has to give up being a caterpillar in order to become a butterfly. How sometimes you have to give up what you know to go where we're all at right now. We have to give up what you know and trust that the future will be better and beautiful, and which is a pretty hard one right now. But it's been read to children for generations, and it's a multi-layered parable for teens and adults. And once you read the book, you're never going to forget it. So she welcomes you into her living room, virtually, of course, to share this message of hope. And then there's going to be lively and fun conversation. There'll be a different guest every night. She wrote the book more than 50 years ago, and she says on the video, may we all emerge from our cocoons as beautiful butterflies flying across the world, spreading hope and peace. May we carry the pollen of love from one flower to the other and receive the nectar in a wonderful exchange. Don't miss this. It's going to be great.
Very good.
And she's so delightful. I'll put a link to my interview with her because she just, she's lovely.
Awesome. Anything else? That's it?
Bad news.
Bad news. So this is really bad. This is from Gizmodo's Sam Rutherford, who reports that everything's being canceled these days. Canceled or delayed or put on pause, and even emojis are going to be put on pause, according to the Unicode Consortium, which is the organization that's responsible for approving emojis. They have decided.
All they have to do is sit around and draw them.
I'll get to that. So, according to a blog post by this organization, they've decided, quote unquote, to postpone the release of version 14.0 of the Unicode standard by 6 months from March to September of 2021, which means that we might not be able to get to use the next new set of emojis, which we talked about in the past episode, until maybe early 2022. A large part of the Unicode Consortium's work comes from volunteers. And so this organization has been hit hard as a result. The president, Mark Davis, says in his blog, under the current circumstances, we've heard that our contributors have a lot on their plates at the moment and decided it was in the best interest of our volunteers and the organizations that depend on the standard to push out our release date. This year, we simply cannot commit to the same schedule we've adhered to in the past. So volunteer organizations have problems dealing with stuff as well. So that's why they depend on volunteers, BL.
Like they have a lot else to do. Okay, so this is the worst news of the week in my realm. Coronavirus killed John Prine. This is from a Rolling Stone article by multiple writers, and it's just so freaking sad to lose the great John Prine. He's one of America's greatest singer-songwriters. I guess my favorite is Angel from Montgomery, but there are so many. And Rolling Stone said, in his humble, hilarious way, Prine was one of America's greatest songwriters. And they have 25 of his best heartfelt songs, Midwestern Mind Trips, and the offhandedly brilliant reflections on the weird serendipity of everyday life. There's no such thing as a bad John Prine song. And so I will put in the show notes Bruce Springsteen's tribute to John Prine and some other things. But one of the most beautiful songs is definitely Angel from Montgomery. And one of the most beautiful renditions of it is when he and Bonnie Raitt did it together.
I confess I have never listened to John Prine. I
you're
did not
missing
know him
something
until now. So I will definitely put him on heavy rotation playlist to find out what I've been missing all these years.
Spotify has tons of John Prine playlists right now. Yeah, I mean, I once met him, actually, when I was the harmonica fairy. In one of my early jobs, I was the artist representative for Hohner harmonicas. So, and he played one, and he actually came to our headquarters, and I met him. But that is nothing to. It's not important. But I mean, just. This man was such a fighter. He got through so many things, and he was 73, which is he should have been around till he was 100.
Yeah.
That one just broke the dam for me.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
Definitely deserves to be in worst. This is not nearly as tragic. It's just something. It's a cautionary tale I came across in one of my feeds. I think this was in Flipbook. An ad, sponsored post for a hotel that has a picture of a conference room with lines and rows, a massive conference room with rows and rows of tables, and the copy reads 8,000 guest rooms, 500,000 square feet of meeting space, and endless fun. So maybe pause your ads if you're a hotel, advertising conventions during a pandemic.
Great place for a field hospital, right?
Yeah, right.
God, what a stupid thing. So Facebook, talking about stupid things, Facebook launched what they call a private app for couples, like you're going to do anything private on Facebook. So this is from a Verge story by Ashley Carmen. And if we had a comedy section, this would be in it. They launched an app called Tuned, and it encourages couples to create an intimate social network just for each other. Yeah, right. So it's an iOS-only app, and you can share your mood, they say, exchange music, and create a digital scrapbook. It's built as a private space for both people to connect. It connects to Spotify for music sharing, and this is a great part. You can send each other photos, notice cards, and voice memos, and you can use custom stickers and reactions. Like you want to give more information to Facebook. It's free to use, and it doesn't seemingly require a Facebook account, although you are, of course, subjected to Facebook's data rules, meaning the data provided can be used for ad targeting. So much for your privacy.
Kind of sounds like text messaging to me.
Well, yes, it does. I mean, come on. Like, all right. I mean, maybe it's a substitute for their long gone dating app that nobody wanted to use because nobody trusts them. So, okay, that's my bad news. I got a lot of shiny stuff. Do you?
I do indeed. I got this is, I found this through Lifehackers, David Murphy, who reported on a video conferencing guide. It was compiled by 538's Paul Schreiber and Lifehacker contributor Yael Grauer. It is not exhaustive because there's some video conferencing solutions that I know about that are not on the list, but pretty comprehensive. 26 video conferencing solutions are listed, and it's compiled in a list of features. So you can go through the list and see what features each one of them have. So it's very useful. Put a link to it in the show notes so people can check it out.
Well, I look forward to seeing that one. Flying Tiger is one of my favorite stores. It's a Danish house goods store, and what they have, top of mind thing here, downloadable coloring sheets, puzzles, and more, and a do-it-together YouTube channel with all these projects and games, and it includes how to make a do-it-yourself spacecraft, a bead money bank, and a lot more things. And I'll put a link to it and a video from it. But what's so great about this store is that they have these beautifully designed things, and it's the only store in New York that you can go into. You can buy wonderful things and come out with change for a $20 bill.
Is it a do-it-yourself? So is it a spacecraft like a NASA spacecraft, or is it an alien
No, it's a
spacecraft,
toy
or is it
spacecraft.
Star Wars spacecraft?
No,
I
it's a
mean,
toy.
I need to know these things.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not. You can't go well, we can't go anywhere. We're in quarantine.
Space?
We
And
can't
can a
go.
virus live in space? I want to know.
I don't know. But
So this is cool. This is idea boards with a Z. It's a free virtual whiteboard brainstorming tool. So as we're all co-working or whatever, remote working, this is a collaboration tool for brainstorming on a virtual whiteboard. You can have everybody write down their ideas, and then you can combine similar ideas and have people vote on which ideas are the best. And so it's a nice little app, and it's free.
oh, I like that idea. I got to look at ideas. So Chrome has a music lab. It's a website that makes learning music accessible. It's got hands-on experiments. You don't need an account to use it. You can use it to create songs too. And you can get the open source code for a lot of these experiments that Google is doing. But you can play with these experiments across devices. You can use them on phones, tablets, laptops, and you just open the site on any web browser. It doesn't have to be Chrome, and you can share your creations. And it's just so much fun. I mean, I'm so non-talented as a musician, and even I can make things with it.
So does it help you learn how to read music?
Yes, it does all of that.
Awesome, because that's the one thing
The
that
key.
the biggest regret of my life is not having learned how to read music, and it feels so daunting. I've tried several times to read books to learn how to music, like it just never works. So anything that can help me do that, I'm all for. So I'm out of shiny stuff.
Okay, well, I came across this on Business to Community, and it's 25 free or inexpensive tools for marketers. And there were a couple on there that were new to me, so that's a good thing. And I just have some fun stuff to add. My all-time favorite TV show was MASH, and somebody's done this great MASH and the coronavirus, in which they take scenes from MASH. There's one in which they're in the operating room, and Houlihan says to who's the effete guy, I can't remember his name, but he touched his nose. She says, "You have to go wash up again. You touched your nose." He said, "I did not touch my nose." And they have this big fight about it. And finally the colonel makes him go and wash up again. It's like, "I came here to operate, not to wash. Go wash." And then they have another one where the colonel needs to sign some papers. So he tells Radar, "Come bring me the paper so I can sign them." So Radar puts him on a fishing reel, and he puts him through the door, and he gives it to him on his desk, and then he reels it back in. I mean, there's something for everything we're going through right now. It is, of all the the funny things that people are passing around, the quarantine diet and the whole thing, this is the funniest thing I've seen. It would be funny even if we weren't in this situation. And there's another thing that I think is a really important resource, and it's a podcast from Bloomberg Philanthropies. It's called Follow the Data, and there's just Dr. Josh Sharfstein, who's the Vice Dean of Public Health Practice and Community Engagement at Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health, is part of the latest episode. And he's talking about, how will we know if we flatten the curve? What are the best sources for news? How is this outbreak different from anything that we've ever seen before? So this is a really good podcast to follow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So this is let's wrap this up. This is numbers that you'll want to know about B2B market, so marketing budgets and how they're affected by the COVID pandemic. This is from AgriGauge. The company is AgriGauge, and it's via Tom Pick, my friend Tom Pick, who does the wonderful Web Equity blog. So they surveyed, he and this company surveyed 450 B2B marketers about their expected marketing plans as a result of the pandemic. It was conducted in March, late March, and here's some numbers as a result of this survey. 72% of them project overall 2020 marketing budgets will increase, stay the same, or only be cut moderately by less than 20%. 70% will cancel all or some live events for the next 60 days. Nearly 25% plan to cancel all or some live events for the next 6 months. 65% plan to reallocate those dollars from the live event budgets to online events like webinars. The top spending categories for those planning to allocate those live event dollars are content creation, hosted and sponsored webinars, social media marketing, search engine optimization, and industry vertical lead gen programs. Software and healthcare marketers are best positioned to maintain their spend and activity, and manufacturing and business services are being the hardest hit in terms of budget. So the interesting numbers, and kind of, there's some positivity in there.
Yeah, I wouldn't have expected the numbers to be as high as they are, or the cuts to be as low as they're saying they are, but that all kind of remains to be seen. So I am involved in a project that I'm kind of excited about. I am taking a course that is from New York City, and it's a 6-week course for women entrepreneurs over 50. And the goal of it is to help us to create a business plan and to learn how to scale up the ideas that we have. And I'm hoping that I can use it to learn how to scale fun walkers. So that's my goal with this thing. And so we shall see. But it's 4 hours twice a week, and it's been a long time since I've been a student. And that's a lot of time to sit in front of a screen. But I've already learned stuff. So thank you, New York City. You had to apply, and 22 of us are in it, and there's some fascinating people in there.
Awesome.
So yeah, it really is. So that brings us to the end of episode 303 of the Beyond Social Media Show. And if you want to find us and just search Beyond Social Media Show, you'll find links to everything we talked about, and including the videos that we discussed at beyondsocialmediashow.com/303. And David Erickson is on Twitter as D Erickson, on Instagram as DE Erickson, and on YouTube as eStrategy, and blogging at eStrategyblog.com. I'm on Twitter. I'm BL Ochman, and I'm on Twitter as What's Next. I blog at What's Next blog. YouTube, What's Next blog, website, blochman.com, and Instagram, Lucy the Rescue Puppy. You can subscribe to us everywhere that you get your podcasts, and we will be back next week.
Thanks for watching.